Hello, my fellow health nuts. That's a Pho Vietnamese Noodle Soup. Yeah, it's desert essence. Cold and fall. Today I'm showing you how to make my authentic Pho Vietnamese noodle soup. It is perfect for a cold fall day, plus it's super healthy and a great way to get lots of vegetables down. Let me show you how it's done. Pho Vietnamese noodle soup does have a complicated flavor profile, but that does not mean that it's complicated to put together. It just requires that you do all the prep work in advance and have it all ready to go so that at the last minute you can throw it together and then voila! It's ready to be served. Let me show you how I break it down. In last week's video, I showed you how to make homemade bone broth, and that's going to be the base for this soup. And then to make it very authentic Pho Vietnamese noodle flavor, we're going to add about a thumb of unpeeled ginger, 1 stick of cinnamon, and 1 star of anise. Now I'm going to let that simmer while I prepare the rest of my vegetables with my broth. While the broth is simmering, it's a great time to prep all of your vegetables. And it's really important, as I said before, to have them ready to go right at the very end, because you don't want to cook them a long time. You want them to be al dente. So if you went to a pho restaurant, you would notice that the vegetables are just barely cooked. Now, some of the vegetables that I really like to use and that you'll typically see used are broccoli, carrots. Everything should be bite-sized pieces, of course. I'm using leek today. You can use onion as well. Mushrooms are great. I don't have those, but I have some wonderful bok choy that I really like in the soup. And then these vegetables, which I prepare in advance, of course, too. I have a hot pepper, some with seeds for the people who like it really spicy. And then I have some basil and cilantro, and those are to garnish at the end. You're just gonna throw those on as an individual for what you like at the very end. One of the key ingredients to this Pho Vietnamese noodle soup are the noodles. So let me talk a little bit about how to choose the noodles and then how to prepare them. So first off, let me just say that I know a lot of you have a Trader Joe's near you, but please do not buy these fresh rice noodles. They are awful. I saved them. You can see the package is open because there's one more left and we are not eating them. Even my chickens won't eat these. Do not buy these. They're terrible. Okay, now if you have an Asian market near you, you can get these rice sticks, rice noodles, relatively cheap. Like this whole package I think was $1, maybe $1.20 at the most. If you have a restaurant store like a cash and carry near you, that's a great place to get these. If you don't, you can always get these Thai Kitchen stir-fry rice noodles. They're really high quality, excellent brand, and they're great as well. They're basically the same thing. They're just usually a little bit more expensive than those rice sticks. Now let me show you how to prepare these. The noodles take only about 2 minutes to cook, so you want to make sure that you're watching them closely, and also make sure to salt the water so that they're not too bland. Okay, so the noodles are done, and it's really important with these noodles, A, not to cook them in the broth. You want to pre-cook them, and B, to rinse them out really well. Get all the starch off of them. It's important to use pre-cooked meats in your noodle soup because if you try to cook them in the broth, you kind of ruin the aesthetic value. As you can see, I'm cooking it separately here in a little bit of salted water, and all of the residue that's coming up just clouds the broth and makes it not so pretty. All right, it's time to add my other ingredients, so I want to strain out the ginger and cinnamon and anise, star of anise seeds, so that you don't get any crunchy bits in your soup. Now before I bring this to a boil and add my vegetables, I want to make sure that I have just the right amount of salt in it. Now that being said, it is really nice to use some fish sauce in your broth. So what I like to do, because this is quite salty and I don't like it to be very fishy, if you use a lot of it, it gets fishy, is I just undersalt the broth, and then at the very end at the table, I let people add fish sauce if they desire, or if they want to add a little bit more salt, then that's fine too. I brought the broth back up to a boil. Now I'm just going to quickly add my vegetables and meat. Not even going to let it cook at all after that, and then spoon it directly into the bowl that has the noodles in it. Now this really hot boiling broth is going to bring those noodles right back up to temperature, and at the very same time it's going to cool the broth down so it's not too terribly hot to eat. My Pho Vietnamese noodle soup is steaming hot and ready to go. I hope you'll give this a try. It's a great way to get lots of vegetables down, and it's perfect for fall. To your health.